What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to another wrestling review. I know this is on the wrong channel. I was going to do it on my wrestling channel, but apparently I don't have enough videos yet to do a live stream on there. So we're stuck doing it on here until further notice. I got to make more videos on that, get more subs or something. I don't know. I guess YouTube has standards to that. I didn't know that. I thought you could just start streaming as soon as you make a channel, but apparently you can't. So we're on here. I got Colt with me, and we're going to be talking about Money in the Bank because we didn't get a chance to talk about Clash. I didn't watch Clash. I didn't finish Backlash. I didn't watch the Saudi show, but I didn't miss Money in the Bank. So we are here talking about this year's Money in the Bank, and you guys have probably been hearing all about it. It's weird. It's been one of those weird things where there's been a lot of reporting on it, not all for the good. There's definitely a lot of bad in there, but we'll get to that in a minute. But anyways, Colt, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me on this discussion.
Thanks for having me.
It's not a problem at all, man. I figure this be more of an interesting review because usually me and you are pretty positive when it comes to WWE's current product. This one will be a little bit interesting, and I'm glad we didn't do this immediately after because I kind of had time to step back and look at the full picture and really take it in and think about it. And my opinion has changed, not drastically, but it has changed. And I look at this show a lot differently than I did last night.
The one opinion you told me I was surprised with, I was like, I don't know about that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I got reasons for it. I know it's a bit like what the fuck, but I do have a lot of stuff that I want to talk about with this show. And for those wondering if we're going to cover Heat Wave, maybe sometime because I'm one. If anything, we'll do it as soon as I check it out because I'm pretty sure Colt will check it out immediately. But me, I want to watch the build to it, so it'll be a minute for me to get to it. But I want to watch Heat Wave because I've heard it's better than Money in the Bank.
Oh,
so that's interesting.
But
Colt, what do you think about this show after watching it and thinking about it for a while? Where do you stand with it?
Oh boy, where will I stand with it? Well, first off, so we watched Mania.
Yeah.
Right. And we watched Mania. We watched night one. That one was good. Night two was good. I watched Backlash. That one was surprisingly one of the better backlashes in modern time. Didn't care about the Saudi show. Didn't care about Clash, honestly. I've watched a couple things from Clash and it looked pretty decent. But Money in the Bank. So I thought the pay-per-view, it's hard to say because I try to be positive, but this was just a lot of just head scratching moments. I will say a lot of stories and directions I will not agree with, but overall I thought the matches were good. I think the worst match, honestly, and this says something, was the men's Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I agree.
And the best was the two.
Actually, I might have to disagree a bit there, but we'll
it was the ending, wasn't it?
Well, it's such a weird ass show because I look at it and I'm like, there's some things in there that I'm like, either it could have been great or I thought was passable. There's moments that I think it shines through that it could have been a really good show. It really could have been. It's just, I think what it boils down to with Money in the Bank, it was a series of unfortunate events and it was a series of baffling decisions that I'm surprised they made.
Agreed.
And I mean, we'll get into the first match because there's so much here to cover with this show because it's not, and that's why I'm glad that we kind of came back with Money in the Bank because if me and you got on here talk about Backlash, it'd be a typical like, yeah, that was a great show. Everything was good. I like this. Maybe didn't like that. Same thing with Clash. Same thing with Saudi. We would have been like, yeah, it's good. This I didn't mind. But
Yeah,
with this
Saudi
show,
show.
it's interesting, man. This is going to be more of a unique review because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hate the show. I do want to say that I don't hate the show. I hated things in it. There were things in it that I really didn't like, but
Agreed.
it's a weird thing where the best part was watching it with y'all. Like that was the funnest part was getting
Mm-hmm.
together, chilling, and watching it as a big group as a get together. That was the funnest part, and I think that was really fun.
Mm-hmm. That
Um,
also helps.
it does. I don't know what it is, but watching wrestling by yourself versus watching wrestling with the group, it's two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but we'll get into the first thing here because there's a lot to talk about. But this is the first matchup. Now, the card I got is out of order, so Colt's gonna try to help me out here and get me back on track if I'm off a little bit. But because right here on this card, they got the World Heavyweight Championship match as the first match,
No.
and that didn't happen.
I
But the men's
wish.
Money in the Bank match was the first thing on the card, which I was really surprised by. But
Same.
I get what they're doing. They want to open it up with something big. So let's give them the Money in the Bank match to start. We got Jay Uso, Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, Chad Gable, LA Knight, and Drew McIntyre.
Fireworks still? Come on now.
Yeah, I'm hearing them too over here. I'm turning this damn AC off. I'm freezing.
I wish I had AC.
You got like 2 fans.
My room's so humid because of the snakes. It's ridiculous.
Oh, I know. I go over there. I'm like, oh my god, it's a freaking rainforest in here. We got boas everywhere. We got freaking 90 degrees. No, but
brother,
to get into the ladder match, I thought it was a pretty good ladder match. There was some creative stuff in there I didn't mind.
Even you were surprised.
Yeah, because typically, I've noticed if you've seen the big ladder matches, you pretty much seen it. Like you're not gonna really get too much more from a ladder match if you've seen the big ones. But I'll say this: the men, the women tried different stuff that I'd never seen before. Some of it worked, some of it didn't work. But I thought the match was good. I just don't understand the decision of why they would just rob all this young talent. Like Drew McIntyre stuck out like a sore thumb in this damn match. And I was over here like, no Dragunov, no other. You want to put Drew McIntyre? And I'll admit, like, okay, now he has that on his, on his resume. He's a Money in the Bank winner. It's part of his career, technically. But
later on,
we'll get to that. But yeah, Drew McIntyre did win Money in the Bank, and I thought it was the wrong decision.
It was the wrong decision by a heartbeat. I don't know why they did it, and this is something because normally when I disagree with the decision, I'm like, okay, what was the purpose? Let's look at the outcome. They did this to fuel the freaking CM Punk and Drew McIntyre feud.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
They wasted a cash-in on a CM Punk and Drew McIntyre feud. Spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
It was the dumbest decision. I don't know why H did that. And I seen people comment saying, do you guys really think if they gave it to Carmelo or Andrade or any of these younger guys, they're really going to cash in on Gunther or Cody? Yeah, that's what the Money in the Bank is supposed to do, you dummy.
Yeah, it's what it's meant for. And
did you really expect Edge to be Undertaker when he cashed in? No, but he did. Did you expect Edge to beat Cena? Probably, because he was a bloody mess. But that's what the Money in the Bank briefcase is for. It's to get that guy or that person, that guy or girl, to that next level.
Yeah.
Which is what they always, whether we hate the man or not, that was one thing Vince did perfectly. He would get the Money in the Bank. He would set it up for a good person or a person that needed it first. Then the first couple wins, like the first before all of a sudden all these freaking main eventers started winning it.
And it led to one of the worst, probably the worst Money in the Bank cash-in. I mean, I would say my personal pick for the worst is that time when Braun Strowman went to go cash it in, and they threw it. So Brock Lesnar threw it up into the stands, and that's all that happened from that cash-in. That was probably the worst. But
that didn't happen with Strowman. Strowman he cashed in on a pay-per-view, and Brock Lesnar ruined it.
Who did?
Strowman cashed in on Roman at Hell in a Cell, and Brock broke in and beat them both up, and it ended in a no contest.
Yeah, I thought that was stupid. That was probably the worst cash-in because I'm like, dude, you can't screw over Braun Strowman like that.
It wasn't even that. It was a Hell in a Cell. How are we going to end it in a no contest?
Yeah, that was Vince. That was the dark ages we're talking about there, for sure.
But it was to get that guy over. It was to get that guy or girl over to the next level because they didn't want to do it yet, so they gave him the briefcase. What happened with Priest? Priest held that thing for how long? And he finally cashed in. And
he had his moment. And there are people out there that legit do, like, most people look at Priest and think he's doing a good job for the most part. There are those people that are going to hate because he's new and he's young and he's inexperienced. But I think for what he's doing, he's definitely not the worst world heavyweight champion. I mean, he's doing a lot better than Alberto Del Rio ever did. But there's been worse. Whoa, yeah, way worse.
He's not a Batista.
But it is one of the worst cash-ins because the way that show ended, there was a bunch of people that now look bad. Like Damian Priest is now going to have to be a heel because of the way that he won that match. Because the way that the audience is going to perceive it.
But let's not get into that real quick. Let's keep talking about the briefcase winner, Drew McIntyre. Like you said, he stuck out like a sore thumb.
Mm-hmm. And I don't even know why put him in there. I mean, you got guys, and I mean, just you could have had Gable, you could have had Jey Uso, who was the very obvious choice of that's the next step. You got LA Knight, that could have been an obvious choice. You could have given it to Andrade and been a surprise. Like there's so many other things you could have done with that, but the Money in the Bank winners this year were the obvious choices. Like, oh yeah, they would give it to Drew because they got to continue that storyline, and we'll get to the women's later. But it's like no surprise. You have all that young talent in there, and there's no surprise. Like,
and they killed it. They killed it, cooked, and that was the sad thing. That match was good. The sour taste was the finish.
Exactly.
And it's something that Vince had a problem with at the end of his end of career or whatever you want to say. Vince would have these good stories and then good matches, but then have a terrible finish.
I've been hearing, because like I said, I didn't watch Clash. I didn't watch Saudi. I watched most of Backlash. But the thing I've been hearing, the common thing from people is it was a good match, bad ending. Or it was a good match, wrong person won. Or it was a good match, but this happened and it didn't quite click. Mm-hmm. And I've been noticing that, and I'm wondering if they're just not I certain things I've been looking at, okay, the long title reigns, how everybody's got to have a long title reign. I think Sami Zayn should have lost that belt to Gable. There's no reason to keep that belt on Sami. And
he could be world champion.
Yeah, and that's why I have my thoughts on that match too. But as far as the Money in the Bank match goes, it was a good match. Just not the person who should have won. And it left you with sort of a sour taste in your mouth where it's
and
really?
And what did I say? What did I say? I said he really won to just waste the cash in.
Oh, we all called it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We all immediately called it. There's no surprise. No. What happened.
Yeah, that was, again, dumb decision. If that alone, like I said, the match was good. It had good spots. Andrade power bombing Carmelo off the ladder. Carmelo doing that.
Remember that Spanish fly? That shit was crazy.
There was good spots, there was good moments in it. But again, you can have a good match, but the only thing people remember is the ending. So you have a 5-star match but have a terrible ending. That's all everyone's going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened with this pay-per-view, pretty much.
The beginning and the end is always your most important parts.
Yep.
Especially when it comes to a match, the ending has to be right.
Yep.
Or at least it has to be excusably where it's like, okay, that person didn't win, but I can see what they're going to do here. And
Right.
that makes sense. This is like, who else? Why focus on CM Punk and that Drew? One of them is still injured and taking forever to come back. You're going to do all this build. You better drag this rivalry out and not have it end in one match. Because if that's the case, then that's stupid.
Yeah.
This better be one of the best rivalries you're ever, because nobody else is getting. Why is Dragunov getting that? Why is he not getting that treatment? Why is Andrade not getting that treatment? Why are these guys that you brung up from NXT and brung over from AEW or brung over from these other places? Why are you not giving them the treatment that you're giving to CM Punk? I get it, it's CM Punk, but he's injured. He's not doing anything. He can't. And to build it wouldn't make sense. It's just too soon. Why build it that long? I don't know. I just think if they handle it the wrong way, it could be a waste. And here today on this pay-per-view, we seen that the certain things you do could be a waste if you're not careful with things. But yeah, that Money in the Bank match, I would give it like I would give it a 3 out of 5. I would give it a 4 out of 5 if that ending wasn't like it was.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to give it a 3 out of 5 because of the winner, unfortunately.
You got a ding.
Was that?
Someone got a ding. I think it was me.
What's up, Ian? How you doing, man? Did you watch Money in the Bank, Ian?
So, next match is the one that me and you are totally going to disagree with. Which I don't know where this came from with you because we both don't like the guy, but it was Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker.
Yeah. So
I got to hear your story on this because I am intrigued.
So obviously my pick last night was because I'm not a fan of Braun Breaker. I'm just not. I think he has a lot to work on. I don't know why he was called up. He should have stayed in NXT. I get it. He's been there since 2.0, but he's not ready. He's not ready for main event status. He's not ready for championships. However, it really don't matter what I think when not only there's a pretty big cult following for Braun Breaker. I don't know really why. I don't really agree with it, but there is a cult following. People think he's cool. But also the way they built him up to end that match the way they did, to have Sami Zayn retain. Of course, talking about Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker for the IC title. The match was not as good as it probably should have been. There's a few moments in there where I thought Braun Breaker really did some different stuff. And that's the thing that kills me about the guy. He's got his moments where I'm like, okay, that was a good moment. But then after that, you don't get it anymore. It just becomes more of the same. He's more of a guy of good moments than he is of having a great match. Like, I've never seen a Braun Breaker match where I'm like, the match was great. I've seen matches where I'm like, oh, that was a cool moment. But to me, a moment, like one part of an entire match, doesn't save the match unless it's part of the match. They purposely do that. Yeah, I just thought him and Sami didn't. It was a Raw TV match. Like, I didn't really see why you'd put that on your 4-match card. Like, it didn't scream to me as the workhorse match. Because the IC title is the workhorse title. So whoever's holding that belt, typically, you expect, like, okay, this might be the best technical or the best high-flying or the best wrestling match of the night. It may not have the best story, but it's going to be the best wrestling match of the night. Could steal the show. Could, possibly. It doesn't always do that, but it could. It just wasn't much of a story. Wasn't much of a build. I'm not a fan of this face run for Sami Zayn. I'm just not. I don't think it really needed to happen. And I think I think Braun Strowman. I wish he was in this match. But why I think Braun Breaker should have won, use it as an experiment. Give him the belt, work on him. You're building him up already as this tank that was taking everybody out. Instead of having Sami beat him clean and probably going to end that storyline. If not, he'll beat him on Raw. So if that's the case, then why have him beat him on Raw when you could have had him beat him on Money in the Bank? And if you're going to beat him at SummerSlam, why drag it out? So my thing is, what's the gain from this? If Braun Breaker loses, Sami goes back to being Sami. Nobody's, and I'm not mean to be mean, but most of us are just like, we're not wanting Sami as IC champ. Like, it's nothing against Sami. It's just, if Randy Orton became IC champ, I kind of feel that, I'm like, does he really IC champ? Like, Randy Orton? But it's kind of different because I know Randy Orton has that legend status. But what I'm trying to say is that Sami has already had the IC title many times, long reigns. This one, not much is happening from it. I mean, Gable really didn't benefit from losing to Sami. He could have benefited by winning against Sami, but not really by losing. And here we have another young, up-and-coming talent that is yet again losing to Sami Zayn when you could put the title on Braun Breaker, put a writer with him, build him up, do something. If it doesn't work, put it on somebody else. It's the IC title, y'all. It ain't the world title, it ain't the WWE title. The whole point of mid-card belts is this guy. Ooh, it didn't work. Give it back to this guy. Or, ooh, let's give it to this person over here. Let's have Jey Uso. Bro, do that. Give it to Braun Breaker. He's a heel. It ain't working so well. Give it to Jey Uso. He's a face. There's a simple solution there. But to keep it on Sami, why? Why continue this reign? He's had it since Mania. And why does he still have it? Why? What's the point? What's the purpose? Where's it going? What's it doing? And I'm looking at people, the young talent that's been facing Sami, and Sami's been winning. And I'm just like, man, you could have given it to this guy. Could have given it to this guy. Could have given it so many ways they could have went. But, yeah, I thought the match was decent. I'd give it like a 3 out of 5. Being generous. I know I'm rambling, but it's a thought. I've been noticing a lot with WWE that the titles, they've been really wanting to drag out these title reigns, and the IC title doesn't need that. But anyway, yeah, Gunther did amazing with that title though.
So here's my thing with it. So with Sami having it, their build is what's up, Trash?
Amen.
It's like he's supposed to be this underdog, and I do not. I'm sorry, but I don't agree with the thing on this. No briefcase should be cashed in on a mid-carder. That's the world title. If Chad would have won it, he should have cashed in on Priest. Another thing is, like, my thing is with Sami holding it, they know they have a guy, like a veteran that they can trust. Okay, let's give it a try with this guy and see what happens. Like you said, I feel like the reason why they didn't have Breaker won it here is they want it to mean more at SummerSlam, because say he would have won at Money in the Bank, what would you remember more, him winning at Money in the Bank or him winning at SummerSlam? And like a street fight type.
It depends on what they do with it. If they end the storyline now, and my feeling is they won't continue it. Maybe they will. Maybe I'm wrong. But let's just say they end it now. If they ended the storyline, it really hurts Braun. If they continue it, it could help. But my issue with Braun and Sami is they have no story. They have no they didn't have chemistry in that match. And it wasn't their fault. There's just some people that it don't click, and with them, it could get hardcore. But then again, I think the roadmap with Sammy, it's not. It just hasn't really done much for me. Like Logan Paul, you want to look at Logan Paul, U.S. champion. Yes, he doesn't defend his title as often as Sammy, but when Logan Paul is there, it's a spectacle. It means something. There's a story. There's something.
Him and
You
the LA Knight.
remember it. Yeah, like you just and then and LA Knight's gonna and when LA Knight wins that title, if he does, hopefully, it'll mean a lot. Versus whoever beats Sammy, I don't see the same. Like I just don't think Sammy's done much with it. There's just not a lot. And it ain't like I know a lot of people think, well, people are just turning on Sammy. I don't think it's people just turning on Sammy. I think it's people just sort of, and I sort of agree because I love Sammy, but at the same time, it's like he's a main event guy. He's
It's
main
time
event.
to main
Yeah.
event title on him.
Yeah, he just doesn't need the IC title. With
I
a
agree.
roster like that, there's so many people.
I agree on that point. But I feel like with if he wins at SummerSlam, and I feel like there was a rivalry there. There was Breakker being this untouchable force with, how Gunther was. Gunther, like people couldn't pin him, people couldn't do that. Breakker, they're building him up pretty much like, okay, he's this, like you said, a tank. He's destroying everyone. He beat Sheamus. He didn't really beat Sheamus. That whole weird thing happened, but he pretty much was having a good match with Sheamus. And then he beat some jobbers, and he went through Sheamus and Ludwig. And Sammy's whole thing is, I'm an underdog. I fight. And I will agree. I think you said it once that it's getting repetitive. It is getting repetitive because you can't just keep relying on the underdog storyline to continue with Sammy. He needs to go and figure it out and be this, like you said, a main event guy. With him eventually losing it to Braun at SummerSlam, maybe we can start building that with him and Priest next. If Priest won't have it. Gunther's going to kill him at SummerSlam. Unless somehow if he retains, I'm going to be one shocked man. But with Sammy, it is like you said. I agree with what most of you said because it's time to have him drop it. And I feel like he'll probably drop it at SummerSlam to Breakker, and then he'll probably go after the world title, which he needs to. No more tag teams, no more little single mid-card belts. Put the strap on him. Put the main event strap on him and see what he can do with it.
Yeah. And we'll see. I mean, they could continue this and make it something even better. I don't have a feeling about that. I mean, that SummerSlam card is going to be freaking packed.
It is.
And I don't even know if they're going to get on the card. We'll see. I mean, I can hope and pray, but there's a lot of people on Raw that's going to be going after Sammy. So we'll see what they do with this. But overall, not a terrible match. Just to me, I was like, well, that big moment on SmackDown for DIY, would that have been better on this card if you replaced this match with a DIY tag team match where they win the titles? I don't know. Maybe. But it just felt like it was kind of a weird placement on this card for me. But hey, at least the IC title match is on a card. But decent match, 3 out of 5, passable.
I give it a 3.5.
I think we got the women's Money in the Bank match after this, right?
No, it was the world title.
The world title?
Yes.
Okay, the world title match.
Yeah. One thing real quick. He did put Ricochet in the hospital. I did forget about that. He did kill Ricochet. We can't forget about the man killing Ricochet. It would have made sense if with the rivalry they had, yes. But again, the Money in the Bank should not be used for mid-card titles. It should be meant for main event titles. It shouldn't be, you know, these guys who are winning these briefcases besides McIntyre and Cena and Orton, but like these younger guys, like how Edge won it the first time. It catapulted his career. It should be the same thing with anyone else, whether it's Chad Gable, whether it's LA Knight, whether it's Andrade. I don't care. If they win it, they should not cash in on a mid-card title. I don't know why Vince decided to do that, but the fact that he started doing that, it aggravated me.
I think it could work because I think Austin Theory made it work. As much as it could have seemed lame that he did that, I do think it worked. I think it made him, like, to me, his best run was when he was the U.S. champion. So it all depends on who wins and how they win and the circumstances. Because I see what Salad's trying to say here. Because you got Cody ain't gonna lose anytime soon. That's for sure not gonna happen. Priest and Gunther and all them, Gunther will not lose to Gable if it's a cash in. Unless Gable gets him in some kind of weird. You see what I mean? It's just I don't know if Gable could pull it. I don't know. That's all circumstantial, you know.
Well, that's the thing though with the Money in the Bank. It was I don't know if they can win. They could make it a triple threat like we seen, or they could literally the dude like say Chad did win and he cashed in on Gunther. Say it's SummerSlam, he's cashed in on SummerSlam after a long match with Priest. Say he freaking puts him in an ankle lock, hits him with like a whole bunch of finishers, cashes in, hits him with another one and wins. There you go. That's how Money in the Bank should be used to me. If you want to give it to a guy who needs it, like a Chad Gable, like a Jey Uso, like anyone else who's a young talent, let the champion take a beating or get attacked, and anyone else just like how Edge did. Edge didn't wait. What happened with Undertaker when he cashed in, I think, the second time? Undertaker got beat up by Mark Henry, came out, cashed in, speared him 1, 2, 3. What happened with Cena? He fought in Elimination Chamber, got the English is hard. Busted open, bruised up, came in, cashed in, won the title. That's what the Money in the Bank to me should always feel like. Like, wait to that perfect opportunity and cash in.
Yeah, well, the unfortunate thing is because of this match right here, we're not even going to see that for a full year from the men. So
I don't even want to talk about this match. I was so triggered with this match. Okay.
Seth Rollins versus Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship. On paper, good match. Match so far was a pretty good match. It was pretty good.
Excellent.
Yeah, I thought that him and Seth, that's a good matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And then shit got ruined.
Everything hit the fan.
And easily, to me, if it's not the work, because the other cash-ins, for as lame as they can be, were always planned. They went according to plan. This was a disaster. It was just an absolute disaster of a cash-in.
This made me sad.
Because Seth won this fucking match. Despite what people want to say, oh, well, no, I'm tired of this. Look, I'm tired of people fucking up finishes to matches in WWE and then them being like, well, no, in the books it's this. It's like, no, lean into it. Stop fucking fighting it, bro. Like, everybody was talking about the Randy Orton Gunther match. That's all we talked about because they were like, no, Gunther won and that's it. It's final. It's like, man, you could do something. It's wrestling. Someone fucks up, you could use it in a storyline. And here, Seth won the fucking match, even though the ref didn't count 3.
Oh my god!
So what happened? Botch of the century here. I know some people blame it on Priest. I think it's the sound guy's fault.
It was definitely the sound guy's fault.
Yeah, it was miscued. This was a
fired.
series of unfortunate events and unfortunate technical difficulties where
very bad.
The cue was missed. Seth was about to get the third count. Ref stops, looks. We all look around. I'm over here thinking like I'm getting ready to pop because I'm like, oh shit, Seth just won. I'm fucking happy. And then nope, we see Drew come out, and I'm like, oh, you got to be fucking kidding me, man. You got to be kidding me. So now, what they thought was going to happen, where now Drew and I think what they were wanting to do with this was get sympathy for Damian. Drew's the bad guy, and Seth and Punk are baby faces. That's not what happened here. What happened here was Damian is now going to get some heat because people are going to be like, oh, you couldn't win that title unless there was that accident that happened, and you only won it because of the screwy finish, which is not what they're wanting to do with Priest. They're wanting to make him a babyface. You can tell by the way they're doing everything. So now they got to fight that uphill battle. Now CM Punk is a fucking asshole and looks like a heel. Drew is now having sympathy because of what CM Punk is doing. But at the same time, he's also looking foolish because how could he not expect Punk to come out and interfere in that match? Seth is now a babyface because now he looks like he was screwed out of the match. So it was all a big disaster that they got to deal with now. And Seth can't get that rematch because of the stipulation of the match. If he loses, he can't go after the world title anymore. Now he is a pure babyface, and Priest is a pure heel.
Mm-hmm.
It is really one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in WWE. It was so weird how so many things were unfortunate, and now we're in this weird thing where Seth can't challenge anymore, but he got screwed. Drew got screwed. Everybody got screwed, and I blame CM Punk. I mean, I really do. I think that CM Punk shouldn't be having these long, drawn-out storylines when he ain't wrestling. And without CM Punk, you wouldn't have any of this. So it's a weird thing. I'll pass it off to you because it's a strange thing for me to talk about this whole thing.
Where do I even start with this to begin with? Okay. The match was going phenomenal. Okay. Phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And me and you started what is it? It started off good, and me and you both noticed something that they've never done before.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Good point here. I'm glad you remembered this.
Yes. They both, Seth and Priest, kept looking over at the ramp because they knew Drew was going to do something. And no other Money in the Bank, I would say, people have really ever done that. You don't really see that, and you just go, huh. Oh, they won Money in the Bank. Yeah, who cares? I'm not going to.
They always forget about it. They're not even phased.
But they didn't, which was a good attention to detail.
I love it.
However, match is going good. We're getting kickouts. We're getting finishers. We're getting back and forths. And then Seth hits a Falcon Arrow, which, if it would have been a stomp, if it would have been a pedigree, if it would have been any other move, a mess up happens. This man hits a Falcon Arrow. Ref goes 1, 2, and then just doesn't hit the 3.
Stands up and looks around as Seth is looking around. No one, Priest don't kick out. Seth don't kick Priest out. No one did anything. I was like, what the fuck? Like, the ref not counting 3, I get it, bro. It ain't in the script, but count 3. Count 3. They always say it. I've heard so many people say it. Just count 3. Even if it's a fuck up, you can always fix it later. It's wrestling. Just count 3, because when you don't, that exposes the business. That looks so fucking fake when you don't count 3, and it's bad. You don't ever. I know it's hard to not count 3 when it's not scheduled. It just feels wrong. But like, count 3, because you're gonna have a cash in regardless. So just count 3. So the ref, that's the thing I gotta say to him. Seth, bruh, you seen that hand coming down? Pull the shoulder up. If Priest, because some people were saying that Priest might have been knocked out from something that Seth did, or maybe he wasn't all there. Maybe he because I don't think Priest was supposed to kick out of that. Now I don't know the plan here. Was he supposed to hit that move, and then at 2 the ref was just gonna stop because of the music, and that's why there was not gonna be a 3? Because if his shoulders are down, that ref's gonna count 3, even if there is other music.
I think what was gonna happen was the ref was gonna go 1, 2, the music would hit, and Seth would jump up.
Yeah, that makes sense because he'd be like, "Oh shoot, someone's coming out here now."
Drew's coming. I gotta be ready. But that wasn't anything that happened. It went 1, 2. Seth just looked up like, "What happened? What happened?"
The ref just stands up and starts looking, and I'm like, "Ref, what the hell?"
The ref and Seth were like, "We f***ed up bad."
Dude, it's literally so weird, man. And Priest was so mad. I can't blame him. It made him look bad. It made people look bad. The only person that didn't look bad was Punk, because all he had to do was go in there and ruin everything and leave. Like,
yeah, what he's good
it was
at.
like a heel. He was like a fucking heel now because he did that shit.
And it was, I don't know, man. Like, and like the way it happened too, like Priest just kind of rolled out of the ring, and then I'm sitting there, I'm like, did Seth win, and is he just cashing on Seth, and it's a 1-on-1 match?
I didn't know, because I was like, wait a minute, Priest just waiting around now. Like, what's happening here? And it did not make a lick of sense. Then Drew looks like an idiot because I'm like, okay, Drew's cashing in. Okay, that part makes sense. What doesn't make sense is how does Drew not expect Punk to be there? Like, and not. So you have the guys in the ring acknowledge that the Money in the Bank winner's there. Have them look around. That's great. But with Drew, after he's already been screwed so many times by CM Punk, he's not going to be looking around and looking for Punk at all. Like,
Right.
You make him look like a fool. Like, that's the thing. I mentioned this 2 months ago. I was like, look, you can drag storylines out, but you get to a point where people start looking like idiots because it's like, wait, Drew didn't expect it to happen. And then they're over here. You got Pierce on Raw saying, well, Drew McIntyre is suspended. I'm like, he don't work for you. He quit. How is he suspended if he's unemployed?
That's what I asked. Bro, I was so freaking confused with that because we work Monday. So we don't get to watch Raw. I was confused. I was like, wait, ain't he unemployed technically?
He don't have a job. He's just showing up to events and attacking people.
But apparently, I guess Tyler said he just did it to get like a boo-hoo sympathy type thing.
I don't know.
I was like, huh?
Weird because you can tell they want Priest to be the face against Gunther, who's going to be the heel. Yeah. How are they going to do that now?
The only thing that can happen is he gets kicked out of Judgment Day.
Yeah, but he's still going to look like a heel because he's like, I don't need Judgment Day. But Judgment Day is acting like heels towards him. So you got a heel group kicking out a heel, or could it be better as a heel leaving the heel group? Either way, people are going to look at Priest and be like, this dude's an egotistical man. He only won that match because of the way that happened. Seth Rollins, right. Seth Rollins. Give him the Seth Rollins. That's the bad thing is now people are going to be like, nah, I want Seth Rollins. And Drew McIntyre got screwed again, and CM Punk ruined everything. Screw CM Punk, man. It gets heat on people that were supposed to be baby faces. Very weird. So, in my opinion, I think it's the match. Once again, I would have. Oh shoot! Oh, I thought I closed my app for a minute. The match, I give it a 3. I give it a 3 out of 5. Again, it would have been a 4 or a 5, or not 5, but like a 4, 4.5. if it would have been a full match, we could have seen the full outcome, and it could have been what it was meant to be. You know?
I feel like it could have been a 5. I feel like if they would have done the right thing with the whole Drew thing and had his music hit, Seth pops up, Priest is kind of dead, and then everything happens. I feel like it would have looked a lot better.
Yeah, I agree.
And they kind of sprinkled in a Seth and Punk feud as well.
Yeah, I seen that. Setting that up for the future.
Seth was not happy.
I don't blame him. I don't know why anybody would be happy leaving that, because Punk, that's the thing with Punk, man, is I don't get why he gets to do that and nobody else does. He gets to sit at home and recover from an injury that I swear to God Cody Rhodes came back faster from. Maybe I'm wrong, but I could have sworn Cody came back from that in like 5 months. But I don't know. I can't remember the timeline.
Another thing with Cody, it was like he wasn't even on TV. He was just gone.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, instead of taking all that TV time up, which I guess I understand why you want to do that, because you want to make it the biggest rivalry of all time, you're making Drew look like an idiot. I don't know how that makes him a heel. It makes him have sympathy. Like, if you look at the grand scheme of things, yes, he got overly egotistical, and yes, in the beginning he was a heel, obviously. Even up to winning that world title, he was a heel. But now he's going out and he's legit winning stuff, and Punk is like, nope, and denying him. And this right here could get a lot of sympathy on Drew, because people are like, well, what the heck, CM Punk? You were gone that whole time. Now you just come back to screw him again? Like, you're looking like a dick. Not only do you screw him, but you screw Seth, you screw Damian. Like, what are you doing here, man? Like, Punk got most of the heat from that.
Of the new comment under Kelly. I cannot say the dude. Yeah, that one. Priest wants to win on his own, but every defense he wins because of help, which has been true. That was the main thing with this. He wanted to prove to Seth and everyone else he could do it on his own.
Yeah.
And now he looks like he can't do it because of the Punk situation.
See what I mean? It's just it's weird. It's ironic that it just didn't play out the way they want it to.
Exactly.
How they planned it is not how it's going to look. So now they're going to have to do something, because they can make Finn Balor be all nasty all they want, but if people don't like Priest, they're not going to cheer for him. You can almost force a heel, because what I mean by that is you can get like Braun Breaker. If he ain't getting cheered, it's going to be a lot easier for him to get booed. But you can't force a babyface. Every time they've tried to, it won't. They don't like it. People don't like it. Yeah. So I wouldn't force it, but I don't know what you do, because Gunther's not a babyface. He's a heel. So I don't know. Do you make Gunther the babyface? And how do you make a heel Damian versus a babyface Gunther seem like Gunther has to fight as an underdog? Like, I don't know how you do that. I don't know how they're going to do that.
And where has Gunther been?
Yeah, supposedly the man's going to get a shot at SummerSlam. Been gone from Raw. Not been on Raw, but we get random ass matches on Raw that don't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things. Oh, we're going to throw this guy with this guy. I'm like, why? Like, at least on SmackDown, it makes sense,
Seth should have been allowed to attack Punk after the match.
Somebody should have. Shoot, why didn't Seth do anything? So now he looks like that's the thing. CM Punk, man, I hate to say it, but I do blame him for this. Because of him being hurt, and because of him I can't work for 10 fucking months because of a fucking tear that it seems like everybody else recovered from except for him. But now he's going to come back. And what happens? He comes back, gets hurt again? Then what? It was all for nothing?
Oh my God! If that happens, that'd be the most waste time.
Exactly, man. So,
I guess now I'm scared. Now I'm scared. Him and Drew, and he injures himself. He gets injured again.
They just repeat the storyline next year.
Oh, please don't.
I played it happen again.
I don't understand. Here's the thing that aggravates me. And with the whole rivalry to begin with, Punk couldn't get hit, but he attacked Drew after he won the match at Mania.
Mm-hmm.
Drew gets salty. He wants to get his hands on him, but no one can touch Punk for some odd weird reason.
You think it was in his claws?
I don't know. But then SmackDown happens in Chicago, and Drew finally gets his hands on him and murders him.
Mm-hmm.
Then he goes away for a while, and then he comes back again at Money in the Bank to screw Drew. But again, nobody could touch him.
Yeah.
I don't understand why. I don't know why Seth couldn't hit him. I don't know why Corey was like, back
because
up,
he's
Seth.
a baby face. They want him to be a baby face, and that won't be sympathy.
No, I would have told Corey, let Seth go fucking blast him.
Mm-hmm.
That's money printing right there.
Exactly. And it would make total sense. I mean, if somebody did that to me, because Seth should be taking it very personally, because Damien gets to keep his belt. Drew, that storyline gets continued regardless. Seth don't get no follow-up because he can't go after the title again. That's gone. He won the match fair and square, but he not only did he get cashed in on unsuccessfully too, but because of that, the man he was challenging is still champion. So Seth got fucking double screwed. He's like looking like the biggest baby face of all time, but yet they want CM Punk to be the big baby face, and it's just not. It's not how it's looking. Yeah, it doesn't look like that. It doesn't look like CM Punk should be your big baby face. You just lean into it, man. You want to make a lot of money? Lean into it. Have CM Punk be a heel. Have Damien be a heel. But they can't. Not with Damien, at least. Damien, they're going to have to figure out something because
they got to turn him face.
Something. He's a tweenie right now. So that's the only thing they got going for Damien is he's a tweenie. So that could help him because he ain't a solid baby face or heel.
Yeah.
You know?
The thing that sucks with Priest is I feel like he could have been a really good world champion during this little run that he had because he ain't beating Gunther at SummerSlam.
No.
If he does, I won't be.
It'll be a good match though, but
he
ain't gonna win it. If he does, I don't think it'll be the right decision.
The thing that aggravates me with his run, it's been like Jinder's run. If you remember how his title run was, he couldn't win without the Singh brothers. I get it, it's a heel thing, but it gets annoying after a while. Every time Priest has defended this title, something's happened fishy.
Yeah, but yet they want to build him as a face. It's like it doesn't work that way.
And that's what I feel like, with the SummerSlam match, I feel like he's going to turn face because I feel like Finn and the rest of Judgment Day are going to come out and he's going to be like, what are you guys doing? Leave. Or the ref's going to get knocked out and they're going to get in the ring and then they're going to turn on Priest and then Gunther's just going to take the scraps and win.
Yeah. Or what they I don't know why they didn't do this because after Mania, Priest was a natural baby face. The people loved him. And he was wearing the suit.
Undertaker was amazing.
Yeah. He was looking good, man. Had the suits, looking fresh, champion.
Him and Rhea.
Why did they not just do this? All right, so literally the Monday after Mania, have Priest come out and say, or if you don't want to make it immediately after, then maybe the week after, 2 or 3 weeks after Mania, you have Priest come out, and you got people saying, he can only win if the Judgment Day is there. So he tells Judgment Day, look, you guys can stay. I got to go do my own thing. I'm going to go be my own champion. I'm going to go prove these people wrong. Wish the best of luck to all y'all. Then you can set up the Judgment Day turning on Priest a lot sooner and have him having to fight Finn. Then the next pay-per-view having to take on, if you want him to take on JD, you could if you wanted to, or on Raw. If you don't want to put it on pay-per-view, put it on Raw, like him versus JD. And versus all these
Dominic.
people and dealing with all the Dominic and dealing with all the freaking drama in the Judgment Day. Him getting past the Judgment Day, moving on, somebody else taking over the Judgment Day, and you could do so much with it, but they got cold feet, man. Judgment Day's popular. They don't want to really affect it, but it's like, go ahead.
My thing is, I just lost it too. I had it and I lost it. Shoot.
No, I hate when that happens.
Oh, that really just aggravated me. Crap. Oh, that bugged me.
But will the Judgment Day cost him that match at SummerSlam, or will Gunther win at Clean?
I think they have to pull the trigger and have them cost Priest at SummerSlam.
Maybe. That's probably their only option now.
Yeah, with that botch ending, that's the only way they can do that.
And they should have I would honestly, if it was me booking, I'd have Priest come out and say, look, we all weren't happy with how that match ended, including me. So it ain't just you, Seth, that's pissed. It's me too. Believe me. If I had a choice, I'd give you a rematch, but we can't. And maybe have the judge be like, oh, isn't that awesome? You got Seth out of your way, and him be like, you think it's awesome that I get to go out to like a fool to everybody? He's like, have him be acknowledged, have him talk about how he wanted to have a legit good win against Seth, and he couldn't do it, and it disappoints him. So maybe they will. Hopefully they do that, because it would help him.
Raw's going to be interesting to
yeah. We'll see. We'll see if we hear from Punk. We'll see if we hear anything from anyone from that, but mainly from Priest. So yeah. So I think that match it's a weird thing, man. Very weird. But what would you give the match overall?
A 3, just because of that botch and everything in between.
It wasn't even that long of a match so far, was it? Were they about 10 minutes in?
I think they were probably 15.
Yeah, so would you think it'd be like a 25-minute?
I was thinking 25, maybe even 30.
Yeah, so we didn't even get to see the full potential of that match either. That's what sucks, too, because I'm like, damn it, man. That's a good match.
Good, too.
Yeah.
They were going at it, and then the Falcon Arrow happened, and the botch happened, and it was like, wait, what?
Bro, I was excited. I was like, oh, shit.
You and John were like, oh, my God. I'm like, he
won.
Like, did he win? I'm just sitting there like, did he win?
And then I was like, wait, what? What's happening? Wait a minute.
And then Drew comes out like, oh, me.
Oh, come on.
You ruined it.
But it's just like, good shit, Hunter. Good shit.
That's what I'm talking about.
You tease the audience, then you say no.
You're supposed to be different, H. You're falling into the trap.
But after that, luckily things picked up because we had the women's ladder match for the Money in the Bank.
Everywhere in this match.
Oh, it was so strange, man. This was the weirdest Money in the Bank match I've ever seen, because part of me loved it, but then part of me was scared to watch it because it was very botchy and very sloppy at points. It's sort of like Batman and Robin. I love it for all the reasons why it's bad. Like, there's so many moments where I was like, someone could have died there. Someone could have died over there. This person botched completely. Zoe Stark missing completely.
Oh, that was the biggest botch.
But the first 5 minutes, there was at least 10 botches. And I was like, oh my God, what is happening? But luckily, things picked up from there. And I thought it was a really, 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 really good Money in the Bank match.
They went harder than the men, I think.
Yeah, it was more brutal. I felt it. It just a lot more creativity to it. And there was pretty creative spots in that first match. But here, I'm just watching. I'm like, oh, my God, this person over here landed on their head. Oh, my God, this person over here is trying to do a move. And it was nuts. I mean, there's like that move that happened with Io Sky. That was nuts.
Oh, and she sold it for like 5 minutes, just like a pretzel just bent back. I'm like, oh, my back. Zoe Stark completely missing and hitting just the mat, and was just like probably thinking, There went my time to shine. Tiffany taking a freaking ladder to the face. Naomi taking an unpretty to the face. That one was brutal.
Mm-hmm.
That one was brutal. The freaking unprettier onto the ladder.
Yeah, I felt like I was being a bit too harsh on this when I was rethinking it over because I was like, oh, Tiffany, and for those who didn't know, Tiffany Stratton did win this match, and I was like, you could have picked somebody else to be a surprise, but honestly, Stratton's the good choice. It's her time. You know, it's sort of like if Jey Uso won. I wouldn't be surprised Jey Uso won, but it would make sense. And I'd be like, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Like, it's his time. Like, he's young, but he's not too young. He ain't, like, brand new into this, but he needs something to boost him up, and that would do it, you know?
Oh, my God. They could have done something with Jay, and I just thought of it, and they could have made more money with the Bloodline crap.
Yeah, what's that?
They could have had him cash in on Cody.
That'd be absolutely crazy if they did that.
They could have had him cash in on Cody.
Well, no, they're doing that thing where, and I noticed it too, because Stratton was doing an interview, and they were like, "Oh, would you like to cash in on Liv?" And she's like, "I'd love to, but or no." Yeah, she's like, I'd love to, but she's not on my brand, so I can't cash in on her. So I'm focused on Bayley.
Don't do that.
So I'm wondering if, like, whoever wins that, you got to cash in on someone in your brand. You can't cash in on Raw.
I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna mean it. If they're gonna do this brand split perfectly, technically now have 4 Money in the Banks: 1 for Raw, 1 for SmackDown, 1 Raw for the women, 1 SmackDown for the women.
Yeah, and that it could give you an excuse. Now, I know people would object to this. It would give you an excuse to have a 2-night event.
Yeah,
you could do like one night and then the next night.
2025, I think, in Minnesota, it's a 2-night event for SummerSlam.
Yep. And if you did that for Money in the Bank, it could give you 2 nights. You know, you could split it up into nights. And you could give it more matches.
Or just put it back on WrestleMania where it belongs.
I know, right? That was like a tradition. It was like, oh, starting out WrestleMania, Money in the Bank.
When they made Money in the Bank its own pay-per-view. They did it for the money.
Then they did that weird thing where the IC ladder match became a thing for a while. When I was like, okay, this is different.
Oh, we did forget about that.
What's that?
We forgot about probably the most mind-blowing thing that happened on this pay-per-view.
Oh, yeah, of course. Heartbreaking.
Are in the last, I wouldn't say next year, it's the last tour, but John Cena is retiring in 2025.
It's crazy.
My childhood just went out the window.
It's just crazy, man. Most of those people we grew up with are retired or retiring or going to retire soon.
The only one left is like Orton and Carlito.
Yeah, and Kofi. Kofi's a veteran.
I always forget about Kofi.
Mysterio, he's been wrestling forever, man.
And he murdered a guy.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I forgot about that one, yeah.
I had to bring that up.
At first split second, I was like, wait, huh? And I'm like, oh, shit, he did. Oh, boy.
Well, it wasn't his fault. The dude had a heart attack.
Yeah. No, Great Khali legit murdered somebody in the ring. He legit killed someone. He was learning how to wrestle. I didn't even know that till I watched a video one day. The dude was like, yeah, he was training and he drove someone's head into the mat and they died. I'm like, oh, my God.
Well, that's terrifying.
And they still hired him.
I chop you now. Chop.
Well, I've seen it not moving. Oh, God. But, yeah, it's just so sad, man. I mean, I hope they get some good throwbacks in there. I'd love to see one of my personal favorites that no one ever talks about, but I thought they had a great match, was Bobby Lashley versus John Cena. at the Great American Bash. They had a really, really good match that no one will talk about.
I didn't
But
even know they wrestled.
Oh yeah, I don't know about the rivalry, but the match was really good. I'd love to see him and Bobby Lashley have a match again. Personally,
I want him and Punk one more time.
Obviously, yeah, that'd be a great one.
I want him and honestly Logan Paul.
There's theories that that'll be his last one. He's gonna put Logan Paul out. Logan Paul over on the way
out. No, his last one should be Orton.
Orton, yeah, heel Orton.
One more time. Who else? I'm trying to think.
But here's the thing, though: they could be doing Orton versus Cody at that Mania, so they might not be able to do Cena versus Orton.
And Royal Rumble.
What they could do is, do Summer or not. Yeah, they can't do SummerSlam, can they? No, they could, because Cena said even though he's retiring in that year and that will be his last Mania, he's going to wrestle the entire calendar year of 2025.
Oh, yeah. So they could
He'll be able to face Orton at SummerSlam.
But that's a WrestleMania match, though.
It really is.
I don't know how it never became a WrestleMania match.
But what's a bigger Mania match? Him versus Cody? Like Orton versus Cody, or Orton versus Cena?
Orton versus Cena.
Probably.
We can get Cody and Orton down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Orton and Cena, they got to do it at Mania.
Oh, bro, if it was a good world, I would have Kurt Angle come back and they both retire in their last match.
In another perfect world, he should have stayed in WWE. It should have been him versus Edge.
Oh, my God. Edge, why would you leave? No. Damn it, Edge.
I just made everyone very angry or very sad.
Damn it. That could have been so freaking good.
Him and Edge at freaking SummerSlam. Him and Orton at WrestleMania. Ugh.
Who's someone young that you'd like to see face Cena, though?
I think they didn't fight, but they had an interaction. LA Knight.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a good one.
LA Knight. Honestly, I would love to see him face Finn. Priest, that's another good one. Priest.
You think him and KO should have another match?
Him and KO should have one more match, yes.
That was a good one.
We're going to do a Saudi show with him. We're going to have a Saudi show with Cena versus Undertaker versus Goldberg versus Shawn Michaels.
Oh, God. He going to die.
If it happens, don't quote me.
Taker's going to be like, oh, my hip. Oh.
Well, he won't just have... Nah, Goldberg would try to probably kill everyone.
Yeah, Goldberg would end 2 careers in one night.
You mean 3? He'd end Shawn's too.
A new record.
A new record.
Yeah, that'd be... Yeah, don't break... Oh, what about Brock versus Cena one more time? Have Cena get that one last win over Brock.
Cena versus Gable would be interesting. I don't know, because like it'd have to be an Extreme Rules match, because like that last match was just horrendous.
Yeah, we got suplexed out of the main event.
Pretty much. Honestly, if he comes back, I want to see him and Roman one more time.
Oh, they're definitely going to do that. Definitely. Because I think Roman will be a babyface. So we'll get babyface Roman versus babyface Cena.
You might not like this, and I think I said no to this to begin with, but I wouldn't be mad if we got a Cena versus Rock 3.
I'm so surprised that they haven't even hinted at that. But I can see that happening. A heel Rock versus a babyface Cena.
I just thought of something that would make Vince cream.
Oh my God, maybe that's how Cena breaks Ric Flair's record. The Rock comes back and beats Cody Rhodes. And then at WrestleMania, Cena breaks the record, and then We could have Cena versus Cody, and then Cody wins off of Cena.
Dang, that'd make Cody look good. I just thought of something that would make Vince cream.
What?
Cena versus Hogan.
Yeah. Brother, I can't do no moves, brother.
Vince
All
just
right.
Yes, wonderful.
So much money.
You do such a better Vince.
It's good shit. You're doing well, Hunter. I keep thinking of just Vince McMahon being the Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars, just in the background, watching over Darth Vader, who's Triple H.
Something dark side. Something Sith Lord. But back to the match, because we were ADHD children.
Yep. It's been a while.
Tiffany, I think, was the right choice, whether people like her or not.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. It ain't like Nia Jax was in there and Nia Jax won Money in the Bank. You know, like they gave it to someone who's up and coming. She's very popular. Even though she's a heel, she's trying her hardest. People love her. She's just, I seen an interview with her too, the post-match interview. And there's something about her that's very likable, even though she's such a heel. I'm like, I just can't help but like you, Tiffany. You got a very, I don't know. She just seems like she's a likable person. What's up?
You, when she first debuted, you didn't like her at first, I remember. But then you warmed up to her.
Yeah, she won me over for sure because at first I was like, oh, another generic blonde heel. Like I didn't really think, but no, she's really good in the ring. She's got a factor, a charisma. She's got a presence. She's really good. I've really warmed up to Tiffany Stratton.
Nate, you got competition in the chat.
Io Sky is the best wrestler ever. Hey, I agree with you, John. So is Asuka. So is Kari. Tiff was the perfect choice. Chelsea Green sucks. I don't know. You idiot.
Oh yeah, Trenchy said she should have won.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Trenchy, you in here? Make yourself known.
Trenchy, man, I'm sorry if you're out there listening. I was like, what? He wanted Chelsea Green to win? She's an idiot.
Chelsea.
Yeah, she was cracking me up in that match. I'm so glad that
God.
Chelsea was in there because I was dying. She was just getting me.
She was trying to jump, trying to get the briefcase, tried to jump with the ladder on her arm, like trying to hit it down.
It's great. It was all good. I think she's doing awesome as that idiot type of heel. There's a chick on NXT who reminds me just of Chelsea Green. She's doing this whole like old school, like she's an old timey fancy lady, and she's kind of like Chelsea Green.
I was getting ready to say Storm.
No, she's not a total ripoff. She's more like trying to be, not. It's hard to explain. She kind of looks like Chelsea and she acts like Chelsea. She's a really good heel.
I think I know who you're talking about.
In the match, she like cowers away from people and she's kind of an idiot. So I think that she's a good heel as well. But yeah, I mean, Tiffany Stratton was the right choice. I know some people thought, I mean, it is, you could say it is predictable, but it's a good predictable where I was like, okay, that she's going to be a star for sure. She's going to be a big star.
And whether Chelsea took a good bump too.
He said she's so bad in the ring. She did?
You don't remember? She went through the double tables?
Oh my God. Yeah, you're right. Dude, that freaking table spot was brutal. One of the most perfect through the table spots I've seen. It was literally perfect. Yeah. I'm glad you're on here because I keep forgetting things.
That was a brutal spot. She did that in TNA too.
Yeah, that looked really good. It turned, and the match was great. I mean, it was the match of the night for me. That was the best match.
I give that a 5.
Yeah, like a 5 or 4.5. I mean, it's up there for me. Like it's one of the better, probably one of the better Money in the Bank ladder matches I've seen. I
Also,
fucking loved it.
Storm selling when Io dropped her off the ladder on the other ladder was, mwah.
Yeah, Valkyrie I thought was amazing in that match. I thought she really
Tell
displayed a
beginning,
lot of.
beginning.
Yeah, she almost killed Io, or was it Io or who did she have? Was it Io?
It was Io.
Yeah,
Because
she almost killed Io.
you were like, oh, don't make me go to Canada now.
Yeah, I was getting pissed. I was like, "Don't you break her neck?" But yeah, it was it was a good match, man. It was really good. It really helped the show. It was a very good match.
German off the ladder, and Storm sold it so freaking weird but perfect. Like she jumped up like and looked like a stiff board and just fell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, excellent match. Then after that, we got the main event of the evening. We had Cody Rhodes, the team of Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, and Randy Orton taking on the New Bloodline.
I'm
And we got to
surprised.
see the Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu, in action.
Now I know why Jimmy wasn't there.
Why? Oh, because of his record?
Yep.
But but that doesn't make sense though, because Jacob Fatu, I heard, had a pretty big record too.
Apparently, they said on commentary they had to talk to the Canadian police about that.
They said what?
They said on commentary that Triple H and Nick Khan had to talk to the Canadian police about that.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's a shame. Well, I think he's still hurt though, right, Jimmy?
He probably might be, but I don't know. That's why I don't read into those dirt sheets that much. Kevin's like, "Oh, Jimmy's coming back." I'm like, I doubt it.
Yeah, right, Meltzer.
You know, I'm friends with Dwayne. That's why I can call him Dwayne and not The Rock.
I'm friends with Jimmy.
I'm friends with Jimmy, and he said he was okay to compete. He just didn't get the green light. Oh, I want to do a collab with him so bad.
Dude, that'd be awesome if we could get him on the show. I mean, maybe I gotta get that wrestling channel fired up though. It's just not. I want to make that first video really special. And I think I got a topic for it. I just gotta sit down and make the video. But yeah, I'd love to have him on the show one of these days. Oh, yeah. That'd be great.
He's like a really good he's like a really good and honest guy when it comes to both products.
Yeah, and I like how he finds the fun and everything.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah, but yeah, the freaking main event was chaotic, and I loved it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this match. I thought it was a really good main event.
Jacob Fatu no selling the DDT. What?
Yeah, he did great. And I do, man. When they signed him, I was like, "Oh boy, this about to be interesting."
Oh, it was, and he gets it.
How do you feel about the Bloodline winning the match, though? Do you think? Because I wasn't sure how I feel about the Bloodline going over.
I feel okay,
especially with the way that they pinned Cody clean. He pinned him clean.
I wouldn't say that was clean.
I mean, all it took was a spike, and 1, 2, 3, and he's gone.
But Jacob was holding him, so he couldn't defend himself.
Yeah, but if it was screwy, I don't know if it was screwy enough. I don't know how I feel about it.
I can't agree with that. It wasn't screwy enough. But I feel like if you want to make the Bloodline 2.0 feel really good and not like the other one, not like Roman's and Roman, Jimmy J, and Solo, make it more chaotic, which they did. more screwy, which they kind of did, but they couldn't figure it out. And Cody was, I think, the right choice to get pinned because you don't want to pin Orton because it wouldn't make sense with the story that they're going with. It wouldn't make sense for Kevin to get pinned. It logically makes sense for Solo to pin Cody instead of anyone else getting pinned because Solo is going after Cody.
Yeah, and maybe this is their way to build Solo up for that eventual Roman Reigns match.
Exactly. He thinks he's going to beat Cody. Cody beats him, or even say he doesn't beat Cody. He gets frustrated, and then Roman Reigns comes back.
He pretty much stole Roman's gimmick. He's a carbon copy of his gimmick.
Pretty much. And he's
the tribal chief now.
He's the tribal queef. He's doing good, though. He's eating it up. He's definitely, I think he's doing better than what he was because he's actually, you can see him get that confidence. Because when he was with the Bloodline, he really wasn't, he didn't have that confidence because it was mainly just Roman and the Usos with Sammy. He was just there being like the non-silent guy. Now that he's actually cutting promos, he's, doing like good in the matches, he has that charisma back to when he was in NXT, which is something I'm glad he found, which I'm excited for because we're going to get Bloodline versus Bloodline at Survivor Series and War Games match. And that's going to be brutal.
This one really does set up a lot of stuff for the future. I don't know how to, it's a weird thing with me because the match was great. It was fantastic. I think this and that, the match before us, where they literally saved the best for last.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it had a perfect amount of chaos, but not too much of it. I thought the moves were on point. Jacob Fatu was displayed wonderfully.
Yeah.
The baby faces got a lot of stuff in.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think anybody looked too weak coming out of this.
No.
I wasn't sure how I felt. I think I can deal with the ending. I think I know what they're doing with it. I trust what they're doing with it. It's a transitional type of ending where, because of the way this match ended, it's going to lead to a lot of more things in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I really appreciate this match. It's really solid, really good. It was a hell of a main event. It was a lot of fun to watch, and it was
the
good.
pay-per-view.
Yeah, it was definitely the upswing. And I'm glad because we needed a match like this in the last match.
It was like a roller coaster. It was up for the Money in the Bank, even with Drew winning. It was up with the Sammy thing, and then it went down, completely down with that whole Damian and Seth thing. Mm-hmm. Went back up with that women's match and went back up with the main event.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to describe it. It's just the absolute roller coaster ride of a show.
Now, if it was Vince running it, it would have started at the bottom and went down more.
Yeah. Yeah, and the ending would be terrible.
Yeah. I will say this. Even though Drew won, like you said, at least he has it under his belt. I'll take that. I still don't care. The worst Money in the Bank holder was Brock Lesnar.
He had his moments where I thought he was fun as the Money in the Bank. I don't think he needed it. I don't know why they gave it to him. It was pointless, but I love the whole boombox Brock thing they did. That was fun. But
that was the only funny thing. I will say that. But we were livid when that happened because it was
I was pissed.
Thought, we were like, Ali's gonna win. They're gonna give it to Ali. Brr. You gotta be fucking kidding me. This motherfucker's coming out now.
Yeah, didn't he do some bullshit like he waited till the last minute to win that match?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember now. That was a horrible. That was terrible. That probably
really came in
the Bank match ending.
That match was fun. It was going good. Everything was fine. And then all of a sudden, it looks like Ali's gonna win. Boom. Out comes Lesnar, pushes everything out the way, pushes Ali off the ladder, and just takes the briefcase. I was like, you mother, what?
Yeah, that was. I couldn't believe they did that shit. And then, a few years later, they put Lesnar in the fucking Royal Rumble and had him win it.
Yep. Thanks, Shane.
Yeah, that was terrible too.
That was a terrible Rumble
Mm-hmm.
because Ronda won the women's.
Oh my god. Yeah, that was horrible.
And the sad thing was the matches were good, but the Rumbles were garbage.
Mm-hmm. So what would you think? Sorry, what was that?
He was 30. Lesnar was 30, and as soon as his music hit, he's winning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that shit was crazy.
But what were you saying?
Well, I was just gonna ask you, do you think that next year they have a chance to give it to someone like Jey Uso or give it to Gable or give it to do you think they're gonna really next year focus on the younger talent or are they gonna do something like this again next year?
They better not do something like this again next year.
Yeah, for real. Please learn from your fucking mistakes, please.
I feel like H will. H is one of them people who go, okay, that was on me.
Mm-hmm.
That was on me. I hope you don't turn to events. But my dream is for next year, they give it to a young guy. They go, all right, we'll give it to this guy. He's red hot. We'll see what happens. Have him cash in. If he's still hot, keep title on him for a little while. And then eventually, let him lose it and then make him come back up and stuff like that. Make him a next main eventer. Which is why I was so god dang. I don't understand why. I don't understand why they did that with Drew. I don't understand why they had to have Punk do it. I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, me either, man. But now we get to the more interesting part. We gotta rate this show as a whole and talk about the overall. I really don't know because my rating is a 5 out of 10, which sounds bad. I know a lot of people are gonna be like, "What? That's terrible. That's a bad rating. Is it terrible?" It's a weird thing. I give it a 5 out of 10 because I mean a 5 out of 10. It's a middle of the road. I don't love it. I don't hate it. It's a 5.
It was there.
It's split down the middle for me. It's very hard for me to talk about the show because, yes, the main event was great. Yes, the women's ladder match was great. The men's was good, but the ending was just not right. And I think the IC title match, it was decent.
It was
the
a
world
raw
heavyweight match was ruined. And there was a really big, huge problem in this show that I couldn't believe happened. So for me personally, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. I don't hate the show. I think it could have been better, could have been worse. It's middle of the road for me. So I'm going to give it a 5.
I'm gonna give it a 6.
That's a fair rating.
I'm gonna give it a 6. It was a 7, but that whole thing with that title, with the world title, it just brought it down. It was gonna be a 7, but just looking back on it, and like I said, the whole thing what you were saying with Breaker and everything, I may not like the dude, but you are right. He should have beat Sammy.
Wow.
But if they continue it, which is what I'm hoping, he beats him at SummerSlam. If they continue. If not, it was
what if
kind
they
of
have him beat him on Raw? They just have him beat Sammy on Raw.
again. That would I wouldn't like that.
Because that's my thing. I think they're going to have Braun win it on Raw.
Tomorrow?
No, but on the way to SummerSlam, because I don't know if they're going to put that on SummerSlam. Because if you notice, usually what they do is they'll put a title on there and then they'll take it off for the next one. Put it on there and take it off for the next one.
I think knowing H though, he cares about his mid card title, so I think both US and IC will be on it. I think both World will be on it. I think honestly, this is how I would book it. Personally, this is how I'd book it. I'd book Priest and Gunther, obviously. I'd give if it's Breaker and Sammy, Logan and LA, Cody and probably Solo, Punk and Drew, Nia and Bailey. I think Liv will get left out because Rhea's not back yet, unless they give Liv someone, which I don't know who they would. Liv and question mark.
I'd have Rhea beat Liv. Honestly, I think Rhea should come back and beat Liv.
Well, yeah, I hope. And I feel like they'd probably put one of the tag teams on there. Probably not both, but probably one of them. DIY versus someone or Judgment Day versus someone.
Yeah, but the way they've been doing it lately, it's either a 4 or a 5 match card.
Well, it's SummerSlam.
Well, I don't know, man. There was some big match. There was some pay-per-views that Triple H booked that only had 4 matches on it.
I don't think SummerSlam is going to be a 4-match card. That's SummerSlam. That's your big 4.
Well, who did he book last year's SummerSlam? What was on last year's SummerSlam?
Let me look.
Because I don't remember what was on that. I don't remember last year's.
It was 2023, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming they at least had 5 matches, at least.
2023 card. Was that Brock's SummerSlam with Roman? I think it was.
Oh yeah, was that the one with the forklift?
Yeah, Cody versus Seth. No, Cody versus Lesnar. Seth versus Finn. Asuka versus Belair versus Charlotte. Gunther versus Drew. Logan versus Ricochet. Ronda versus Shayna. SummerSlam Battle Royale.
Yeah, so I think that was the last SummerSlam that was booked by McMahon, because I think he was still kind of booking at that time. So this will be the true year of when Triple H does it. Because if you notice, Chamber, I think, only had 4 matches. I think Clash only had like 4 or 5 matches.
Hold up. I missed. Okay, hold up. I missed the match. So it was Roman versus Jay, Cody versus Brock, Seth versus Finn, Asuka versus Belair versus Charlotte, Gunther versus Drew, Ricochet versus Logan Paul, Shayna versus Ronda, and the SummerSlam Battle Royal. There was no U.S. title match on that card.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I'm gonna look here on Survivor Series, that's a pretty big match. So Survivor Series had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matches. So there were 5 matches on Survivor Series. So there could be at least 5 on SummerSlam. I don't know why there wouldn't be 5 matches.
I think there might be well, there's 2 that we know that are confirmed, which is Gunther versus Priest and Nia versus Bailey. Those are the 2 confirmed ones because they won Queen of the Ring.
Mm-hmm.
So those are confirmed. So there's 2 right there. We're probably going to get LA and Logan. So there's 3. We better get that. We would definitely be getting Cody versus probably Solo. There's 4. The only ones, and we're going to get Punk and Drew. So that might be the card right there.
Yeah, so see, there'd be no room for an IC title match.
That'd be weird, though.
So they could have Braun win it on Raw.
Yeah, they could.
Or somebody. I think someone's going to beat Sammy between now and then on Raw. If not, I think it's a waste. I think you don't need to have a 7-month reign with the IC title on Sami Zayn. You just don't. It's not needed. You could give it to some other people to help them.
That's another thing I wanted to get in real quick with you before everything we close and everything.
Mm-hmm.
What is your thoughts on very long title runs?
Well, for the WWE Championship, it's understandable because that's your brand championship. That's the one that your top guys holding, and you don't always have a lot of top guys. So WWE, I understand it. WWE Women's and World Women's, I can understand it. Your US, your IC, your tag team titles, I don't understand because those could be used to build people up and help see if they could get over with a belt. Would a belt help them? If not, okay, let's get it to somebody else. Like what I will say about McMahon that I appreciated, he always kept them belts moving. He always kept it on somebody. He always was like, okay, let's give the IC title to Drew because it could help him. Give him a bit of a reign. All right, let's give it to Kofi. All right, let's give it to Mysterio. All right, let's give it to this guy. Let's give it to that guy. Like, if you look back on it, the IC title was a pretty big thing. Like, people were always winning it. So, for me, mid-card belts, people shouldn't be having a year-long reign with it. Why would you have a year-long reign with Gunther for that, which was great, but you could have done that with the world title with him, which they're probably going to do now. So I think it's necessary for the big belts. I don't really know how to feel about it with the mid-card titles.
So you're fine with it being the WWE Championship, WWE World Championship, and then both the women's, right? He had to emergency mute. If that's the case, I can agree. That's the case.
I think the World Heavyweight title should be switching hands a lot more often because me personally, this may not be how everybody looks at it, but me personally, I look at the levels of importance of the championships as WWE is top. That's your top belt. World Heavyweight is right underneath of it. So to me, World Heavyweight, you could have a lot of people that you didn't expect to be the WWE champion that maybe aren't the guy or the gal yet to have those belts. All right. They may not be on that level yet, but let's give them the World Heavyweight Championship to help them. Let's see if they do good with it. Let's give Christian a chance to have the World Heavyweight title, and let's see how he does. Or let's see how Jack Swagger is with it. Or let's see how...
I forgot he had that.
Yeah. Daniel Bryan. Let's give Daniel Bryan the World Heavyweight title. Or CM Punk. Like, let's give them a chance. So I always think the World Heavyweight title should be a title that anybody can win. And so that's kind of why, even though I love Seth Rollins, it did get a bit old that he held that belt for so long. Because I'm like, man, y'all promised that you guys were going to give us a championship that was, opportunities everywhere and anybody could win it. But only one guy has held it so far, and now it's been only two guys,
I'm fine. So, like you said, WWE Championship, understandable. I agree on that. I agree with the women's. If both the women are killing it, let them have it for a while.
Yeah.
And I agree with the IC and US, switch it up sometimes. Don't let them have long runs. The world is iffy with me. I feel like if a new person has it, let them hold it for 3-4 months, possibly 5.
Mm-hmm.
If a veteran gets it, let them hold it for like a year. Depending on the veteran. Because Batista held that title, Taker held that title, Triple H held that title, Cena held that title, Edge held that title. To me, I look at them, I'm like, okay. I think, like, if Orton were to get drafted to Raw and win the world title, I feel like you should be have it for at least, like, I wouldn't say a year. I'd say at least like six months.
That's fair. And
'Cause
it all
then,
depends on how they're doing. Like if someone has the title and they're very popular and they're everywhere they go, they're getting cheered. Like, yeah, keep that belt on them as long as you can because
like Cody,
yeah, like they're doing good. But like I don't look at Priest as that level. He doesn't get cheered out of the building everywhere he goes. He's not
Right.
quite really there yet. Something's missing.
Mm-hmm.
But it is interesting how they're wanting to approach it more like realistically, I guess, because oh well, if there's a champion that has a belt, we want to make every championship the same level. We got to make it to where every champion gets a long reign. And I'm like, but that's not the point. The point is to use to help people. And if there are
Yeah.
people that can't get the world title right now, they need the IC title.
The one exception was Gunther, because when Triple H gave him that title, everyone looked at the IC title as a joke.
Yeah,
But Gunther restored it and gave it a long, good reign.
give it honor.
Yeah, gave it honor. I feel like Sammy's kind of doing it. It's the same thing. He's just not like it. Gunther had that aura. Nothing against Sammy. Sammy has an aura too, but Gunther had that main event aura.
Yeah.
Like he's just holding that for the next guy, because as soon as he loses that title, he's getting a world title.
And it sort of felt like it was a preview. Like, this is what's happening now.
Wait till I get this.
Wait till this man gets the world title.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was looking at. Like, he facing mid-carders right now. Wait till he's a main event. He's going to be facing legends and stuff and cleaning house. I think he's going to – you want my honest opinion? I think he's going to break Roman's record.
Gunther?
If Gunther – I know that's a big statement, but if Gunther is a big hit and he's getting either booed out of the arenas or cheered out of the arenas – and he's up for it, I don't know who you'd get to beat Gunther, because you got to get someone to climb that mountain. Oh, God. Not again.
Breaks Roman Reigns. All right, who's going to beat him? Here comes Sammy. Oh, frick me.
The Rock has beat Gunther. Yeah, I think he could. I don't know if he will. I'm not going to guarantee it. But he has that presence where if he could get over, he is over. But if he could get to that level of Roman, where he's just everywhere we go, you're hearing about Gunther, and he's really popular. He's getting the ratings up, and he's doing good. He can have great wrestling matches, doesn't get hurt.
Like, he'll have great wrestling matches.
I can see him being an unstoppable world champion.
He breaks Roman's record with the world title. Roman's like, I took that personal. Beats him for it.
Hulk Hogan comes out, wins.
Oh, God, no.
Hogan's like, you're not beating mine.
I'm going to have to relentless this title, brother. My back can't handle it.
But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps us up for the SummerSlam. We're already talking about SummerSlam now, but we're wrapping up the Money in the Bank discussion, and yeah, I mean, I think watching it with you guys was very fun. It was a fun time. It wasn't boring. It wasn't slow. It wasn't like it was a terrible show or anything. It just had a lot of things happening.
Yeah, a lot of good, a lot of bad, and a lot of ugly.
But anyways, man, I want to thank you for being on the show. I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat today. We had a lot of people here today. John Grande, John Steele, you got Salad here. We got Ian was in the chat. I think I seen Chuck. I think I seen Kelly in the chat. So thank you guys so much for watching. He said farting. Keep farting. But yeah, it was a fun time, man. Thanks for joining me on this stream. Thanks for having me able to watch the show. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.
Later.